Right.
Baseball is played with a dark bat or stick between your legs, which is a phallic symbol that they stole, which is called the Tekken, which they stole from ancient Egypt, which is, by the way, Christians, it's not pagan. All right, it's not heathen, it's not pagan. All right? So they standing with their legs open, with a dark stick between their legs, and they're hitting a white ball. All of this science you can study from Dr. Frances Welsing in her book called The ISIS Papers, The Keys to the Colors. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, her book is called The ISIS Papers. Are you following?
Yeah, it's a good book. Yeah, it's a good book.
The four bases. If we only knew what the four bases represent, I could go into a little bit deeper, but let me just say this. Each base is square. You got three bases that are square. Home base is not necessarily square when you kind of, we'll break that down in a minute. But the square is 10-10. All of the cities, now, we're going to get a little bit deep. All of the cities were designed, or are designed today in 2009 in squares. What is the city of 9 squares? The city of the 9 squares is New Haven, Connecticut. Why? Because in New Haven, Connecticut is the home of the Skull and Bones, Yale. Are you following me? Yale University. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. Where else do we have 9 squares, Sister Isis? We have the 9 squares when you play tic-tac-toe. If you put one digit in each of the squares in tic-tac-toe, you come up with 666. City of the 9 squares, birthplace of the Skull and Bones, where they perform homosexual rituals inside of caskets and inside of tombs, masturbating, telling their sexual secrets. This is the origin of the homosexuality and the homosexual acts inside of hip-hop, because they get it from their forebearers in the Skull and Bones and other secret societies. This is why Puppy and other people got to take it up the rear, because they're performing that homosexual ritual, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. Let's get back to the sports. So we're talking about baseball. All right, we dealt with the squares, the 4 squares. We dealt with the magic square, which is the tic-tac-toe sign. We dealt with the city of the 9 squares. We know that Yale is the birthplace for the Skull and Bones. We know that they pick presidents and generals and presidents of corporations and this kind of thing from this particular secret society. They made movies from this particular, based on this particular secret society. Are you following me? George Bush and some other people in government are part of this particular secret society. Now let's talk about football. When you have the field on football, at the end of the field you have goal posts, which symbolizes white woman's legs at the end of each field. So when you kick the dark symbol through the white woman's legs, that symbolizes domination. Not only domination, but the phallic symbol going between the white woman's legs actually symbolizes the cheerleaders on every team, which you can hardly find a black cheerleader with the short skirts, letting brothers know that, yes, there was a woman after us, as Elijah Muhammad teaches us. He said in the last day, the last trick that the white man would use to get us, brother, would be his woman. And this brings us to Tiger Woods. I don't mean to skip to golf, but there's a black man standing, and a lot of white men, you see, the most prevalent white men play golf. The most richest, wealthiest white men play golf. They don't play the other sports. Are you following? Mm-hmm. So we have a white man standing on big, gigantic Mother Earth who's knocking his tiny little white balls into black Mother Earth. Because Muhammad said the only way that the white man can enter into the hereafter is to have the black woman. And they're after you, like the white woman is after the black man. Now, I don't mean to make this a racist or a racial kind of conversation right here, but we need to talk about racism, white supremacy. Are you following me? Because they play some of their rituals out under the guise of racism. And if we write racism off as discrimination and prejudging us, you're wrong. It's not prejudging us, and it's not discrimination. Call it what it is. It's racism, white supremacy. It's a local and global power system set up and maintained by white men in power, rich, wealthy white men in power. So they play these games, all right, to facilitate white supremacy. They won't. Back in the day, they never let black men join the team. If you go back far enough, are you following me?
Right.
They never let a black man coach the team because they were playing out these rituals inside of the ball games. So white men play little tiny white balls, ping pong and these kind of things, because they like playing with little tiny white balls. We, the brothers, play with the big brown and black balls. Are you following me? We play basketball, football, bowling, and this kind of thing. And every once in a while, you know, we throw around the gigantic medicine ball. Hold on one second. Yes, sir. Yeah. Load what? I'll be in there in a second. So let me finish this. So when we talking about the most virulent white men who play these important sports games, like I said, they play with the little tiny white balls. But we have to understand that particular dynamic. So when it came to Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods just so happened that when he came into the world of tennis, to the world of the wide world of sports, he didn't come in as a black man. He said he was totally something different. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, Kablasian. That's what he said.
And what the hell that is. You see, that has no meaning and no substance and no relevance and no power and no weight when it comes to racism, white supremacy. White people see us as one thing, and that's black. They don't care if you got slanted eyes, an afro, a bald head, dreads, a weave, or whatever the hell you got. They see you as black. They're not going to stop and ask you, what are you? Are you following me?
Right.
So we need to understand that particular dynamic. And we need to understand that very well. So now with Tiger Woods, almost a billionaire now, when he married somebody else's maid, we got to look at who's the woman that he married. Not only that, we need to look at all the other women that he has so-called affairs with. Are you following me? We just worried, he messed around on his wife and yada, 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 whoopty-whoopty-whoop. Stop that. That's a distraction. Who were these women? One of these women was his handler. Michael Jackson had a handler. Brian Nichols, the dude that shot up the courthouse in Atlanta, had a handler. Someone that controlled him. Are you following me? Sammy Davis Jr., belonging to the Church of Satan, had a handler. A lot of these people have handlers. Someone inside of the Illuminati that's helping bring a mind control experiment to fruition. Someone has to handle the subject, so to speak. In this case, Brian Nichols being the subject. In this case, Michael Jackson being the subject. In this case, Tiger Woods was the subject. Are you following me? If you don't believe me, look at that mini movie that Michael Jackson made, which no one talks about, sister. It's called Michael Jackson's Ghost. Go online and check it out right now if you think I'm BSing. It's called Michael Jackson's Ghost. You'll see Michael Jackson ascending and descending. You'll see Michael Jackson coming in the cloak of a white man, but really a black man, taking off his mask, presenting himself and giving homage to the skull and bones, dancing on the floor of Lorraine, representing the cross of Lorraine. What do I mean by the cross of Lorraine? The cross of Lorraine is a Rosicrucian cross that they use here in America at the gas station called Exxon. The gas station Exxon is not two X's, brothers and sisters. It's a Rosicrucian cross called the Cross of Lorraine. Where they use this in a ritual? Where was Dr. Martin Luther King assassinated at? At the Lorraine Motel. Are you following me? And this is not by accident. This is not by accident. This is real. And they play these rituals out unbeknownst to us. We don't even know these things. So they play it out in the sports games. Look at pool, billiards. It's a green earth. All the other colored people on the earth that are represented by the balls. It's the white ball that to dominate all the other colored balls on the earth. And the last one they got to deal with is the 8 ball, which is the black ball. And even in our language, we say we don't get caught behind the 8 ball. Are you following me? You position yourself with the dark phallic symbol between your legs, and the white ball, the white people, knock all the other colored people under the earth.